soundtrack to your life right here on the Ferran Dozier Show. Tune in live Tuesday, 6 p.m., 106.5, and AM 1050. Also available on all streaming platforms. The Ferran Dozier Show on KCAA.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk Express. KCAA, Loma Linda, 1050 AM, the station that leaves no listener behind.
Hello, world, family, and friends, and welcome to the E Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, Cornelius Bryant, the Renaissance man himself. And well, I know some of you may have heard the flyer, heard by word of mouth. Today we're going to have a conversation with me, the Renaissance man. But we have one little glitch. The phones are out. So what that means is that you can't call in. But we have an alternative if you choose to. You can call me on my cell phone, 951-238-4720. So let's get started. We're going to work it out. We're going to make it happen. So lots of you know that this month was Mental Health Awareness Month. And so a lot of times we have a tendency to think of that as something bad. Whenever you think of mental health, it's always in this phobia that if you have a mental health issue, that there's something wrong with you or something to be ashamed about. But let me say here, now that we're not going to have all the conversations, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But because to me, in my opinion, see, everything I'm going to say today is based on my opinion. It's not going to be, you're going to say, well, what's the medical facts to support it? Are you a doctor? No, I'm not. But I'm a person who lived a long time and experienced a lot of things, because sometimes life lessons is what prepares us for certain situations. So before we get started, just in case someone out there has an issue, we never want to talk about an issue without giving you a solution. So if there is something going on in your life with your mental health or anything that needs attention, don't be ashamed to reach out. And they made it so simple now. All you have to do, if you have a phone, of course, is just text 988. That's all you have to do. You don't have to call anymore. Just text 988, and that's a 24/7 service. Okay, so now let's talk about me for a minute. As most of you know, I am the president, the owner, the man, the Renaissance man. Life skills, leadership, and etiquette. So you probably asked the question, what qualifies you to do what you do? Are you Dr. Bryant? No. Then what are you? What qualifies you? Well, I've lived quite a while. I've been through many things, many. So a lot of things I've been through is some of the major causes of stress or mental issues. Grief, divorce, job loss, financial collapse, all these things I've been through. So a lot of times you go talk to people and they've been through nothing. They have no experience in any of these areas. That's mostly that where you're dealing with sickness. And so they tell you, oh, I understand. Oh, I understand. But unless you've really been through it, you see the outside and you feel it from the outside, but you don't have that inside knowledge. You don't know what it feels like when you can't stand up because your body's so weak and you're so hurt. You don't know what that feels like when you can't sleep because you're worried about all the things going on in your life, your finances. Are your kids going to eat tomorrow? Are you going to have a place to live tomorrow? So they're just there to support you. What do you say, moral support? But sometimes the best moral support comes from the people who've lived through it, who knows, who's been through it, so they can help you and teach you how to get through it. Because it truly is a process. And a lot of times we don't understand that. We think things happen and people tell me, oh, no, get over it, get over it, get over it. But it's not that easy. Most time, depending on what, and sometimes things stack on top of each other. You know, it's a stack. It's, you know, the loss of a loved one, then the loss of a job, then you get sick, your kids get sick, things like this happen. And so now you have things stacked on top of each other. And now you're at your breaking point. See, people use that, oh, you're burnt out. No, you're at your breaking point. And so what is it that we can do when we get to that breaking point? What are some solutions? So if you want to call in, you can call in 951-238-4720, and you can give us some of the things that you do or that you've done, or you just make a comment. I mean, a lot of times it's easier for us to talk to a stranger than to talk to somebody we know. That's why it's always good to reach out for help. Like I said, that number again, you can just text 988 and they'll answer. So let's start off with this. So in the studio today, as you can see, there's only me and it's Joe. Joe, say hi to the good people. Joe said hi. Hi, good people. And so what we're going to do, the original plan was for us to call in. I know people wanted to call in and talk about it. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go through a couple of situations here. Then I'm going to talk. First thing that causes the major problem is grief. Grief. So people will say, well, how do you know about grief? You know, you don't know about grief. And sometimes when things happen, I'm not going to say we get stuck there, but we take a pause. Sometimes we take a long pause, and sometimes we pause too long in that particular situation. And so I'm not telling nobody, oh, you're only supposed to do it for a week, for a month, or a day, or whatever. I mean, everybody does things according to their own time where God blesses them and pulls them through. But I do know one thing from personal experience, that it's easy to get stuck there. And sometimes the people you get to help you, they're not very good help for you. And so you have to have, even though in that particular time you're not really thinking, you know, you just want help. You just want help. You want a relief. You just want the pain to go away. But the thing I found is that a lot of times people, I'm not going to say they take advantage of you, but that use that situation to their own advantage. Or let's say, for example, if you're grieving, if this person knows you're grieving, so instead of them helping you get out of it, every time you see them, they're going to bring up, oh, it's so sad what happened. It's so sad what happened. Oh, it's so sad. I don't know what I would do if I were you. Oh, I don't know what I would do. And you, excuse me, and you keep running that over and over. So you're already running through your mind. Then that constant reminder is this person running it through your mind again. And so you never get peace. You got to have peace. And a lot of people say, oh, well, I want peace. But you got to understand, man, we just celebrated Memorial Day on Monday. Peace comes with a price. Peace is not free. Peace comes with a cost. And so if you want peace, it's going to cost you something. You know, it's going to cost somebody something to have peace. So you have to figure out what it is in your own self, most time, that's going to give you peace. How's the peace going to come to me? Because everybody you know, they don't want you to have peace. You say, what? What are you talking about, Mr. Renaissance Man? What are you talking about? No. Some people are in a situation where they have no peace. They have nothing. So they love seeing other people, what do you call it, the commiseration group? They love to see other people in that situation. Or better yet, if I'm doing bad and I'm sad, what's going to make me feel better sometimes, not all the time, is someone's doing worse or someone's sadder or someone grieving more than me. Because a lot of times we ask ourselves a question, why did this happen? And then we personalize it, why did this happen to me? So now we've taken that personally. Why did this happen to me? Why does bad things always happen to me? Why does it seem like I always lose my loved ones? Why? And then we internalize it. Then everything is about us, which it is because you're the one grieving. But we can't just continue to grieve and be so down in the dumps that we can't move. You ask me why? Why can't I do that? It's my right. Okay, because majority of the times, not all the times, when you're grieving, there's someone else grieving also. So that means there's someone looking for you to take care of them, to help them. So if all you're doing is focusing on the person you lost, then that means that you're not giving attention or love to the people who are still here. So you're constantly grieving, and they're saying, "Hey, I'm here. Look at me, Daddy. I'm here." But no, I'm stuck, so busy. Whoever the person is, that was just an example because I'm a man, of course. But it can be anybody: your son, your daughter, your parents, your friends, even. They're like, "What about me? What about me? I'm here." So, do you not love me? Am I not important enough to you to at least try and recognize me so we can get through this together? But it's hard. I understand it's hard. Like I say, personal experience. But what do? You say, well, I don't know what to do. So the question is, when you're in certain situations, who do you call on? Who's what they say? Who's your go-to person? Who's your ride or die? So I'm gonna give everyone a moment to think about that. Just a moment, and then I'll come back. Okay, moment's over. All right. So who's that you said? Okay, because we know we have this number that we can call, and sometime, like I said, it's better to call and talk to a stranger. That way, because a lot of us, we have egos, especially men. We have this ego. We don't want people to know we're hurting or whatever's going on inside. And so we shut everybody down, or we shut it out until it just gets to the point where we explode. Okay? And that's not good. And people say, well, depression and all those type of things, those are for poor people. No, they're not just for poor people. Hold on. We have a call coming in. Give us one moment. Hello, caller. Hello, caller.
Yes.
Speak, caller. Can you turn your radio down? Because you're echoing in the background.
All right.
You're on live.
No, they're not just. All right. Hold on. Okay. Call coming in. All right. One more. I'm trying to give me a second here. Hello, caller. You call it. All right.
Okay, we have many callers coming in at the same time. So, caller, in your experience, whatever it is you want to talk about pertains to mental health.
Okay. Let me get another caller and give me a while I get. I'm having a technical issue right here.
Okay. Hello, caller.
Oh, Mr. Bryant.
Yes, sir.
Richard Perry, and thank you for doing this radio show.
Yes, sir.
So, one thing I wanted to comment, you really touched a nerve when you brought this up. And it's just a couple things. One is, recently I've had a couple friends of mine lose their son, which is unnatural. You lose a child. It's like, what a grieful thing to happen. It's just, I just couldn't imagine it,
Right.
And it's, am I calling it a bad time? Or?
No. You're calling it the perfect time. Perfect time. Because what we're doing, this is just what we're talking about. Because, like I said, a lot of times we suffer through this, and I'm sure with your friends,
It's such a tough, difficult. I just couldn't. I was at both two funerals and watching it going on, and knowing both these young men, it was just really struck a nerve. And you said something earlier about men, how we get our egos there, and I was telling my son that you'll get people that want you to do well. They say, "Man, I hope you're doing well," but they don't want you to do better than them. They want you to do well, but not as good as them.
right.
Secretly, they'll keep that to themselves. But I said that as a father, it's the only man in your life that'll want you to do better than him.
Right.
And
Deep down in his heart. Yes.
Right. You want your son to do better than you do, and it's just natural to that. But I'm just thinking that those are things that hit, and I know that I just kept thinking about my friends, that what they're going through, the grief they had to go through, and it's just it's almost like, what can you say? You have people call up with, man, is there anything I can do to help? Please give me a call. I mean, anything you need, let me know. It's really I know it's a natural thing to say that, but what can you do? What can you do for somebody who's going through that much cruise? So I'll leave that call to you, sir, and thank you for the show.
Thank you. Well, Rick, before you hang up, are you still there?
Yep, yes, sir.
Well, the thing is, sometime if this person will allow you to come over,
Right.
you sit there and you be quiet. Just be with them.
That's right.
Yep, that's it.
Good point. That's it.
Yep.
Let them take the lead, right? Just let them take the lead, you say?
Right. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. I mean, sometimes the support is better if you don't say nothing. Put it that way. Sometimes the thing people don't realize is that people, when situations happen, they try to uplift you and lift you up, but you don't realize that you're tearing them down. So it's better just sometimes just if they'll let you come over, whatever, sit there with them and just hold them or sit there with them and just be there. You know, people's like, oh, I don't want to go over there and be quiet and this and that. But sometimes you just need, like I said before, peace. You just
Right.
need time to be in your own head.
Right. Good stuff, sir. Thank you for sharing with your listeners.
All right. Thank you. All right.
Thank you,
Next
sir.
caller. All right. I've got people who are waiting. I'm going to call this person back and see if they're still on the line.
Hello.
Yes, caller. You called to the E Factor radio show. You had a comment about today's topic.
Yes. I just want to talk about. I can kind of, there's the mental health that veterans go through. I know a lot of people who are veterans, and these guys or women have been in these wars, and to this day, they can't lose the things that happened to them, and so this is a lifelong challenge for a lot of veterans. And if anything that's traumatizing like that, you be in a war, you're around bodies, dead people, killing, and all of this, and you come home and you're still in the war. So I know mentality is, it's hard to be mentally tough, but it can be done, but for a lot of people, it just can't be. Like you were saying earlier, it's like, when you're grieving, not everybody is grieving with you, but somebody is grieving with you, especially if you take your problems and you kind of take it out on somebody else who's around you. So I agree with you that, mental health is very important.
Right. And I think that, like we even said about Memorial Day, freedom isn't free. There's a sacrifice or cost paid, but we may not necessarily pay the cost, but through our family members or through them, the cost is being paid. And it affects,
Right.
like you said, with the veterans. If you go off to war or you go wherever it is that you go and you come home, not only is it affecting you because of your suffering and your loss, but it affects your family. Because you have to stop and think. Majority of veterans have families. And so how does that affect their family? And how does that hand it down the line, and all these things that we don't realize, we don't think about. We take it for granted. Oh, okay, they're doing their job. Police officers, they're doing their job. Firemen, they're doing their job. All first responders, for us, they're doing their job. But there's an internal cost to that. And it's how do we deal with it? What kind of help do we give? And when we see people going through these things, because I know when I was younger, I used to see different people in the streets and they're fighting themselves or they're doing this, and you laugh at them, ha ha, look at this crazy person. But you never know where it started. What got them to that point. You don't know. And so sometimes if you knew their story, you'd be doing the same thing. Because you go off, of course, to war, like you say, with the veterans, but you see all these, you think you're prepared for it. I mean, I've never been in the service, but once you get there and you see all these things going on, it's a whole different thing to process, especially day after day after day. and it's hard to move away from it. And so even with the veterans, we have the either veterans, they can call this crisis line too at 988. You know, this is for any and everybody, any crisis you're going through. Because sometimes you don't need a lot of help, but you just have those moments. Have you ever had those moments where you just can't pull it together? You know, you can't snap out of it. You just need somebody to help you, just to sort of speak, snap out of it. But you don't need to be incarcerated, or you don't need to be in a mental institution, but you just need that temporary snap.
Yeah, it's help is needed everywhere. It's something that's always going to be around. Meant to men. And it's not just no matter what the mentality of it is. Mental health, whether it's good, you have a strong mental mind, or you are weak-minded, or you're just weak mentally because of whatever's happened in life. No matter where you go, what you do, or anything, there are going to be people around for help. But a lot of times people don't want help. And that's the other side of the whole mental health thing. There are places that you can go, you can call, all kinds of stuff. But then a lot of people. It's kind of like the homeless. There are a lot of mental people like in the streets. They're homeless, but when you try to offer them like a job or go somewhere where they can be living in, like a established, or like have a roof over their head, a lot of times they want to do that because they're so used to doing the street life, and it's like, oh, now you telling me to go somewhere and follow some rules, and I don't have my freedom. So that's the freedom that somebody like that thinks of. And like you say, freedom costs. Whether it's not the citizens who don't see the fighting and all of this, and wars a lot of times are fought for a reason, but there are a lot of times wars are fought for no reason, and then that's even tougher on office or police or military, or even firemen. I know someone who's in every branch of that, and there's always things that happen. So it's a ongoing battle. Just the whole suicide thing with the veterans. It's like, I don't know what the number is now, but it's like 22 a day that commit suicide behind just being depressed and things like that. So
Right, right. Like I said, I don't know the number, but I know the number is high. And people always say, well, why don't they go do this, do that? If depending on where your mind is, you're like you say about the people who don't want to come off the streets, the homeless who don't want to come off the streets. But everybody's place of peace is different. So some of them you say, oh, they don't want to because they want their freedom to do what they want to do. Yeah, but at the same time, what is their state of mind for as peace goes? Does that offer them a certain amount of peace that they can't get if they're in a housing situation or whatever the case may be, assisted living situation? What peace comes to them and the way they do it? Because apparently, because I pass by sometime and they're happy. I'm thinking, wow, they're just as happy as they can be. Then it makes me think, and here we are, some of us, we have all these things, and we're unhappy because we don't feel like we have enough. And so we're not at peace, and we're constantly striving to get more. And so it's just a matter of peace is a matter of state of mind, so to speak. But yes.
it is.
Yep. But thank you, caller. I appreciate that. And we're just going to move on. So anybody else out there want to make calls, 951-238-4720. Look forward to speaking with you. Thanks again, caller.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we've covered the grief part. Next, divorce. I know what somebody's thinking. Man, do we really want you teaching us life skills? Because you're hitting quite a few of those depression or mental illness issues topics. But that's okay, because reason being, until you, meaning everyone, until you can talk to yourself or realize yourself what the issue is, you're not going to fix it. Because a lot of times people, like I said something earlier, they think it's for poor people. But I know doctors and I know lawyers and I know quite a few people because now that I've been doing my etiquette classes and my life skill class, I come in contact with all type of people, all type of jobs, professions. And sometimes people will talk, like I was saying earlier, they'll talk to me because I'm a stranger. They don't have to worry about me telling their wife, their kids, their friends, so they can talk to me. And it's amazing that you think, okay, you have a job, you're making $300,000 a year. How many people wish they had that job? But you're not happy. You know, you're not happy. It's like, why aren't you happy? Because that's your job. But the job doesn't make you happy. It makes you money. And of course, money makes you happy. But what's missing? Something's missing there. You know, so if you are a caller, you're making all that money, but you're not happy, you want to share with us, 951-238-4720. And so why doesn't money buy happiness? It does to a certain degree, because there's something missing. We do things and we go places, you know, where only a certain people can go with money. You know, we feel good about ourselves. Our standing is good in the community, you know, in the financial world. People look at us, wow, I wish I had their money. I wish I had their money. I wish I can be them. But like we said about freedom, there's a cost that comes with it. There's a certain cost that goes with everything. And so you're making the money, you're doing all these things, but you're not really happy. And why is that? Like me, I said, if I had a few $1 million, I'd be happy. But once you get the money, then what? Is your life happy? Is your relationships with people happy? You know, when you go places and you see other families enjoying themselves, you know, the kids enjoying themselves with people who have no money. You have all this money and your family doesn't even want to spend time with you unless it's just for the money. And you're sad. You're thinking, wow, I'm unfulfilled. So what is it that fulfills you? That's our question. So what we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to talk. All righty. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio, where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation, or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go?
Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it. KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right, welcome back to E Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, the Renaissance man himself, Cornelius Bryant. And just before we went to a break, we had a caller. And so now we're going to go to the caller. Caller, you're on live.
Okay, speaking on a matter of grief, I don't know too much. I don't know anything about the divorce matter, but the matter of grief and loss, I want to share some advice I got that helped me. On a matter of grief, I got some advice that you go out and be a help to others. So while you're dealing with your grief, when you go out and you be a help to someone else, it actually helps you through yours. You know what I mean? Because me and my family, we suffered some recent losses, and one of the things that got me through it was making plans to help other folks. You know what I mean? So I think that plays a big role in your own motivation to do something, and in your own process of healing and getting through things so you can get back to somewhat normal. And
Right.
then on the matter of the mental illness thing, man, the veteran thing, that's a whole big deal. But then the other thing is we have some folks that are homeless with these mental issues, and some of them they content like that. You know what I mean? You have some folks that have mental issues, and they choose to go out and do things and make things worse, and they really content with that condition. If you do offer them help, yeah, they rather be the way that they are instead of conform to societal rules and live a different way, which is unfortunate. And then I'd say, on a matter of what you speak on now with the things with the people being unhappy with what they have, I think our eyes can see everything. A lot of folks look for a outward thing to satisfy their inwardness. You know what I mean? You don't need the biggest house or the fanciest car. You just need something that you like. If you a married couple and y'all have one kid, y'all plan on having no more, what you need 5 bedrooms and 4 bathroom house for? You know what I mean? So we desire things because we think that they're going to make us happy, and that's not even a thing that we need.
Right. You're absolutely right about that. And something you said when you started off, caller, is about when you're in a certain situation by helping other people. And I think that's what's most important, because if you think about it, whatever it is that you're going through, you're not alone, because there's other families, other people who are going through the same thing. And they need someone to talk to them who understands. Because if you're really skinny, it's off topic, but if you're really skinny and you have a person who's overly fat, you can never tell them you understand what they're going through when they feel shame about themselves or people tease them, because you're nowhere close to it. So that's the same way, in a sense, if you're grieving or you're going through something, if people's never been through it, they'll try to do the best they can. But sometimes, like I was saying earlier, what they do, they make you feel worse. So that's a good idea. Right. If you're doing something, there's groups you can join too, like grieving groups or divorce groups and things that you can join. That way you have a support system. Not only do you have that support system for yourself, but you can be somebody's support system, which is to me is more important, because when you're supporting, getting to help yourself, I say you're sitting there and you're just grieving, and you have people around you, your other family members, and they're like, hey, I'm here, show me some love or whatever. Or you just stop. Right. Oh, I just don't want to do anything anymore. I want to end my life and go with the person who died. Like, no, we need you here. Right. You're here.
Right. Because there's people, you can lose somebody, or you lose somebody, lose a child, and then now you're ignoring the ones that's still there because you're grieving over the ones you lost, and you're neglecting your other kids. And then some people, real quick, as a friend of mine, he just told me about, he just shared this story with me about a friend of his. She lost her brother 5 years ago. So when she lost her brother, she just started drinking. She became an alcoholic. Fast forward, right now, she's in the hospital fighting for her life with kidney failure. And so that's like the way that a person doesn't want to go. That helps nobody. You know what I mean?
Right.
You want to get to a point where once you get through it, you can remember this person and talk about, all the good, fun times y'all shared and the good memories that y'all shared. You share that with your friends and family. You gotta focus on one day, in your own time frame, getting to that point. I don't sit there and after so long, just every time I think about a loved one that passed away, I get sad, and this big old cloud hovers over me. I like to get to the point where you can talk about them and talk about the good times you had in a good way. You know what I mean? You still miss them, yeah, but you know what I mean? You gotta remember, you gotta honor their memory
while remembering them in a fun manner, and whatever they probably wanted you to do or things like that, you honor them that way, you know?
Right, absolutely, because there's still people here on earth who need you.
Yep. Well, that's my 2 cents. I just wanted to say that, and hopefully it helps someone.
Well, thank you, caller. I'm sure it did. It helped me. All righty. Thank you, caller, again. Once again, let me hang up on the caller. Once again, we're here, the E Factor Radio Show, and I'm your host, the Renaissance man himself, Cornelius Bryant. You know, I'm going to go back right here to what I said about divorce, because a lot of people, you've never been divorced, and I don't want you to get divorced. I don't wish divorce. Divorce is almost like death for me. For some time, I don't wish it on nobody. But just like sometime in life, death is going to come, so it comes. But it's how do you handle it? It's like another of those things. There's issues over it. So I can tell you my own personal experience, see, because I've been divorced. And then with this divorce, there comes things like financial collapse, sudden change, you know, and all these things that goes with it. But one thing I made my mind up is that I would never, ever do certain things, you know? No, not at all. I would never be an AMC. You say, what is an AMC? Joe, you know what an AMC is? I would never join the AMC. You don't know? All right. So I'm pondering this word right now. So if anybody use it, you got to send me a check. The Angry Man's Club. You know? And it's so hard sometimes because when I got divorced, you know, like I always tell you, certain things you do, you got to be careful who you talk to. Because if you talk to the wrong person, they'll send you down a spiral and you'll be at the bottom of the pit digging holes and dirt with your teeth. But anyways, I'd come across people, men, that's what we're talking about. Oh, they be so angry, so hateful toward their ex-wife. They hate everybody. And I goes, wow, you know, of course I'm going through this. I'm fresh. So when you're going through stuff, you know, you're not necessarily angry. Yeah, you are. You're angry, you're mad, and what have you. And so you think that you're going to get over it. And so sometimes, you know, as men, because see, men, we don't talk to the right people. Majority of the time, men talk to the wrong persons, wrong people. Men talk to the wrong men. All right. And that's what we got to fix. But anyways, these people I was talking to, I asked a question. Well, how long you been divorced? One guy says, 11 years. I goes, what? 11 years? I'm thinking, man, that's a long time. That's like almost a child is born and a child is almost grown type numbers. And another 30-some years. I goes, wait a minute. You've been divorced 11 years. Decades, some 1, 2, 3, whatever the case is. But you've been divorced that long and you're still angry. I goes, I done moved on with my life. I moved on with my life. You know, I'm like, I'm not going to be an angry man the rest of my life and join this club where every day we get together and we drink beers and get drunk and talk about our ex who's not worried about us anymore or what have the case. And so there's things that change, but it's everything about what is or what happens. The key is what's on the other side of it. You know, what are you going to do on the other side? What are you going to do to fix it or to get through it? You know, a lot of those are life choices. And so what do? Well, first of all, seek the right help. Seek the right help. I'm going to always say that. Things that I learned, not that I know now that I'm older, and I learned through experiences, you know, everything that happens is not life or death. Everything that happened is not the end of the world. You know, when you're young and things happen, you think, oh, that's it. This is it. This is it. It's over. It's over. But then years later, when you look back at it, you go, wow, I can't believe the way I acted over that situation. I can't believe I was so sad and depressed. And, you know, some people even think about, oh, I wanted to kill myself. And then you think, wow, I can't believe that. And it's a whole story. But sometimes you got to get through it. That's why I said it's important to talk to people. You got to get through it. And I asked a question earlier, you know, when things are on your mind, who do you talk to? So I was waiting to see if we got a caller to talk about that. but not yet. So I'm going to throw out a few things here. And somebody, if you're on the phone, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. And usually, if it's not your parents or somebody in your family, a lot of people say, well, I'm going to go talk to my pastor. All right. That's what he's there for. Mm-hmm. Lead the flock, the shepherd of the flock. But have you ever thought about something? Have you ever thought about something? I want you to think. I'm going to talk to my pastor. Think about that. How many times have you went and talked to your pastor about situations? How many times? Okay. I'm laughing because, we're here in the audience and, somebody said they never talked to their pastor about it. That's good in a way, but it's bad in a way. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a commercial break. Then on the other side of the commercial break, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about talking to the pastor. All right. I'll be right back in a minute.
KCAA Radio has openings for 1-hour talk shows. If you want to host a radio show, now is the time. Make KCAA your flagship station. Our rates are affordable and our services are second to none. We broadcast to a population of 5 million people. Plus, we stream and podcast on all major online audio and video systems. If you've been thinking about broadcasting a weekly radio program on Real Radio plus the internet, contact our CEO at 281-599-9800. 281-599-9800. You can Skype your show from your home to our Redlands, California studio where our live producers and engineers are ready to work with you personally. A radio program on KCAA is the perfect work from home avocation in these stressful times. Just type kcaaradio.com into your browser to learn more about hosting a show on the best station in the nation or call our CEO for details, 281-599-9800.
And now, the voices of KCAA with an exciting announcement.
Want to hear NBC News or KCAA anywhere you go?
Well, now there's an app for that.
KCAA is celebrating 25 years and our silver anniversary with a brand new app.
The new KCAA app is now available on your smart device, cell phone, in your car, or any place.
Just search KCAA on Google Play or in the Apple Store.
One touch and you can listen on your car radio, Bluetooth device, Android Auto, or Apple CarPlay.
Catch the KCAA buzz in your earbuds or on the streets, celebrating 25 years of talk, news, and excellence with our new KCAA app.
Just do it and download it.
KCAA, celebrating 25 years.
All right, welcome back to the E-Factor Radio Show. I'm your host, the Renaissance man himself, Cornelius Bryant. And before we went to break, we talked about some of the people you talk to when you have mental issues or things going on in your life. And I asked the question, but nobody answered, but I know the answer because I know people. People say, oh, I go talk to my pastor. I go talk to my pastor. Okay, I want you to think about something. Let's say, for example, your pastor has, I'm going to put it as a small number because I don't want to be ridiculous. Your pastor has 100 people. Now, that 100 flock, let's say, on average, 34 of the flock has some kind of issue in life, because issues happen to us all, depending on what it is. They come, they go. So that means that 34 times a month, the pastor's helping the flock deal with the issues, be it mental, physical, financial. Pastor, I need to talk to you because yesterday my husband came home and he didn't say hi to me and I think he's cheating, whatever the case is. But do you know that your pastor, be it a man of God, blessed by God, but yet he is a man. And normally pastors have a wife and a family. They have bills, responsibilities. So what does that mean? That the pastor has his own issues going on. But I'm not saying issues like bad life. We're going to say life, because every issue is a thing of life, be it death, whatever it is. That's just part of life. Those are life cycles, life's happenings. So now you're calling your pastor every time he turns around, you're calling for help. It's sort of like the person, at the end of the service, they say, anybody need prayer, come up. And you go up constantly for prayer, or you meet with the pastor. You say, well, pastor, this is going on, that's going on. Pastor prays. He gives you the word from God. Well, you need to stop doing this. You need to stop doing that. If this person is doing this, you need to cut them out of your life. This happened, that happened. All right. But you go back and you go back to the same thing again because you're like, oh, now, so you're back doing the same thing that pastor told you not to do, that, or that God through pastor told you not to do, but you go back and you're constantly doing it. So you go, you do that, and a couple of weeks later, you call in pastor again. Pastor, I need to help. I need to talk to you, and you're telling the same issue again. And so sometimes what we need to do, people, I can say it because I'm not a pastor, so I don't have to worry about nobody getting mad at me not coming to my church on Sunday. We need to take accountability for ourselves. Sometimes we need to be accountable for ourselves and our actions. Because if you're constantly doing something that's causing grief, that's causing pain and suffering, you need to figure out what it is. And once you figure it out, you need to realize to yourself there's only two ways this is going to go. It is going to keep happening, or I'm going to cut it loose and free myself of it. And so therefore, on behalf of pastors, because I know many pastors, I was a pastor's assistant. And some things, sometimes you just got to encourage yourself. Sometimes you got to pray for yourself, and you got to think for yourself. And you got to think and do right, because pastor has his problems. He has his own family. He has his own issues. Some pastors have their own health issues. And some of it is because the people come to him too much. Hey, don't come to my church tomorrow. I'm sorry. Oh, I don't have a church. I can keep going. But anyways, that's just it. So now I'm going to go on the other side of something. And I'm going to talk more about me. So the only thing I said about any other than me was about the pastors, because they need a break. They need you praying for them. They need you to hold them and uplift them. All right. So I'll be 65 years old soon. And I looked in the mirror the other day, and I passed by, and I looked, and I had to take a double. Sometimes if you pass by, you see a shadow or you see something, you do a double take to see what it is. I had to do a double take to see who that was in the mirror. And guess who it was? It was me. And I said to myself, where does this old man come from? Where did he come from? And do you know that can be a great source of stress? Because when you're young, you're going to get older. You're going to get old. But you really don't think you're going to get old. If you can understand what I'm saying. You really don't think you're going to get old. And there's things come with getting older, and it's called old if you keep living. And so I thought, when I was young, I'd do stuff. I'd jump up. I'd do all these things. I never thought twice about it. Now I look. I have no hair to comb. So what I do is I keep it shaved so it don't look all speckly and what have you, so I can be groomed. I have gray hair. I dyed my hair, my beard and everything. I dyed that for maybe, a couple of years. After that, you know what I decided? It's going to come back. So might as well leave it. Let it be. Accept it. And so what I decided to do is I'm going to try to stay as good shape as possible. Matter of fact, my wife, if I could, I should. She gave me this picture from this magazine the other day of this guy. I mean, this guy, I guarantee he's in his 20s. You can just tell from the way he looks, because that's 20s. And he's all posed and like this, and every muscle in his body is ripped and flexing and shining and all that stuff. And she goes, oh, look at this. This is how I want you to look. I said, okay, baby, no problem. I'm going to the gym. But what I told myself is I'm not going to kill myself trying to look like that, because I know I never will. Never again. So sometimes we get to a point where we have to accept certain things. And getting older, slower, and less, whatever we want to call it, especially like men, I don't know, men, you can agree with me. You don't have to do it now. If your wife is close by or whatever, don't. Don't just look away. Look away. Don't even look at her. Like when you're walking in the store, and then some young girl passes by, or somebody young, or whoever passes by, and you suck your stomach in because you don't want to look all big, but you suck it in. Then you try to walk past with your stomach sucked in, and you get about a step or two past you. You let that thing back out because you can only hold it for so long. See, that's part of getting old. But you can get depressed about it, sad about it, or you can get mad when somebody says something about it. But the thing is that there's no excuse for it as long as you're healthy. You got to work on it. It's like mind over matter. In this case, mind over belly, or whatever the case is. Work on yourself. Be the best version of yourself you can be, because people need you, right? Your family needs you. Your kids need you. If you got grandkids, if not, you need yourself. I mean, you may not be married or want to be married. You may be one of those guys I told you about. You know what I mean? The Angry Men's Club guy. I don't know. But still, you want to present yourself so you can be proud of yourself. Because the most thing we do is we look at ourselves and we think about yesterday and we become sad. This is men and women. We become sad. We become depressed. And sometimes we say to ourselves, what's the use? Then we throw that line. What's that famous line? Oh, but back in my day, I used to be, but back in my day. But you know what? You still here, so your day is still to come. You still here. So work on your day. Be the best of you that you can be. And like the one caller said, help people. No matter what you're going through, help people. Don't always be the one needing help. Like some people, I ain't going to call no names, but I'm just going to make this statement because it's true. Y'all know it's true. Some people you see coming and you almost rather get hit by a car than say something to them. Because you be like, oh, how you doing? Oh, my God. Oh, I got to tell you. And you know, they didn't about 2 seconds of talk to them. You're depressed. Like, man, every time I see that person, they sad, they depressing, this and that. And then what they do, they throw that on you. You be saying, oh, no, they ain't throwing nothing on me. Yeah, they will. You be in a good mood, and then you talk to Jimmy or you talk to Deborah, and she's depressed like always. And she talked to you, and before you know it, you depressed. You be like, wow, I was so happy a minute ago. I don't know what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened. You got to learn how to say no to some people and separate yourself, because everybody, what they say, misery loves company, and don't be misery's company. All right? Okay, so that was our mental health day. And like I said, if you need help, you don't even have to call anymore. You can just text 988 on your phone, 988, and someone will be there to help you. All right, next month is busy. Next month is June. So what's the next month called? We got a title for next month already. You know what the title for next month is, Joe? That's it. No. What happens next month? What day is next month and next month? Father's Day, right? Okay. In order to be a father, well, you have to be a man most of the time. All right. So what we're going to do next month, June, we're going to focus on men. We're focused on men's mental health, men things. All right. Because I read an article and they said that today's men, young men, are spiraling down. And we need to figure out why. Okay, then once we figure out why, we need to figure out how to fix it. Never ask a question why, and then you don't want an answer for it, or you don't want to fix it. You know, whenever you ask why, I want you to already have a fix to it. All right, so why is this happening? Why is that happening? Don't leave it at that. Okay, why is it, and how can we fix it? So next month is official Man Month, not Father's Day, Man Month. So what we're going to do, I got some special people lined up, and I'm going to talk to one of our favorites. Oh, one of E Factor's favorite. And then I'm going to let you figure out who that is. And if I can get E Factor's favorite on here, wow, that's going to be a treat for everyone. All right. Anyways, this is it. This has been the E Factor Radio Show with your host, the Renaissance man himself, Cornelius Bryant. I'll see you next week. Have a good week.
This is KCAA.